nice, we would have gone to the beach.
Si...
So here's my little trick. Here's a very useful trick. You are using the same pairing. You are going to use was and were. Only this time, you are just using was and were on the auxiliary verb. So you're still using was and were. So for example, let me give you an example and you'll come back to that one. So if I ate cake every day, I would be sick. Mainly because I'm allergic to the fucker. So si je mangeais le gâteau, du gâteau tous les jours, okay, je serais malade. If I had eaten cake every day, I would have been sick. Si j'avais, I'm going to the was tense, yeah? Si j'avais plus my past, si j'avais été. Non putain, si j'avais mangé le gâteau tous les jours, I would have been, I'm now going to my would, but this time just on the auxiliary. J'aurais été malade. So in your example, if the weather was good, we would go to the beach. Si le temps... And one of the things that's really going to help you pull this off is, at the risk of sounding patronising, make sure that you're saying it correctly in English. Because, for example, this is a very common English error. And sorry to anybody watching this who feels patronised by this. But basically, if I were you is correct English, not if I was you. Because it's hypothetical. It's one of the few remnants we have of a kind of altered, hypothetical, subjunctive kind of state. Yesterday I was hungry. If I were hungry, I would go to the fridge. Do you understand? So that's sometimes going to help you find this. But we all just say, oh, if I was hungry, do you know what I mean? So basically, give me your original. So if the weather was nice, we would go to the beach. Give me the original again.
Si
and in needs linking. Si is a lady, que is a whore. Que will link to anything. Quel, qu'il, si will link to the one guy. S'il, okay? So off you go. Not that I'm slut-shaming and it's fine to have multiple sexual partners as a woman. I'm not saying women aren't entitled to. So how do I say if the weather was nice?
S'il faisait beau.
Lovely. We would go to the beach.
On irait à la plage.
Great. If the weather had been lovely, so still using faire and still using aller, but with auxiliaries. If the weather had been nice.
Okay, so
after si we use was. Whether we use was and fuck all else, or whether we use was and in the infinitive, within the auxiliary use was. Clearly, if we're using auxiliary was, we've then got the past just in the normal past. So what is if it had been nice, but using faire?
Yeah, so would that be avait fait?
Yeah, but give it me with a s'il. Well done, it would be.
Okay. S'il avait fait beau.
Lovely. Now, you've just given me we would go. You perfectly correctly used on irait rather than nous irions. That's fine. So, again, I'm sticking with aller, only this time I'm using my would in the auxiliary tense. Okay? Side note, think about the verb aller. How do you say we would have gone? Using on.
On avait allé.
On what?
Oh, no. Wait, yeah, okay. On.
No. I can hear it in your brain. I can hear it in your brain. I can hear, this may surprise you, but I can hear it in your brain that you haven't made the necessary change. On serait. Yeah? Because it's yeah. That may surprise those of you that are watching, apart from Wendy, who knows about my psychic abilities. Basically, en serait, you're in the was tense, okay? You're an extra verb. Do some more for me. If I knew the answer, I would say something. Say that for me. If I knew the answer, I would say something.
Si j'avais su la...
No, be careful. I'm not in that one yet. So this is the danger, because you'll give me one from the one and one from the other. Be in the right pairing. It's either going to be was and would, or would and was. You can go the other way around. I would say the answer if I knew something. By all means, go the other way around, as long as the if clause is going to be the was shit. So, but be in that one, then be in the had family. If I had known, I would have, So do me the first ones first. So if I knew the answer, I would say something.
Si je savais la réponse,
Yeah, now into the would, I would say something.
Je dirais quelque chose.
Say that again, the other way round. I would say something if I knew the answer.
Je dirais quelque chose si je savais la réponse.
Great. Acknowledge that after see, you're going to go into the was in this kind of sentence. Whether or not it's your only verb or whether or not it's your auxiliary verb. Great. Off you go. You're itching to do it. If I'd known the answer, I would have said something.
Si j'avais su la réponse,
What's the condition? No, what? What's the conditional I'm going to use?
J'aurais.
Thank you. So basically, you're always going to go into the would in the other situation. Whether you go I would say or I would have, in which case you're just going to make your auxiliary avoir, être into the would tense. Do some more for me. If I chose the blue tie, Miriam would tell me she was happy.
Okay. If I had chosen...
No, if I chose the blue tie, Miriam would... So why is this really useful? Because basically, if you out of nowhere, this is what I always say, I need to get rid of this person. Hi Wendy, I'm teaching, sorry, I'll give you a call back. Okay, so if you have I chose out of nowhere. So if you have was, were, or used to, you go imperfect. If you have have and has, you go passé composé. If you hear bleu, bleu, yeah, bleu, bleu, 90% of the time you're going to go 1, 2, 3 passé composé because it'll be an event in a list. Most pasts you come up against are going to be bleu, bleu. Do you know what I mean by bleu, bleu? Ian spoke, Miriam ran, Luke exchanged, Daniel ate. Most of the time, that's how we hear the past in English. Bleu, bleu, the simple past. And most of the time in French, that's going to be 1, 2, 3. Luke ate, you just go with Luc a mangé. Miriam ran, Miriam a couru. Daniel ate, whatever, Daniel a mangé, fine. So that was the same verb again, but you take my point. And we always say then that even though you're hearing bleu, bleu, it will go to the 1, 2, 3 most of the time. Most of the time it will go to like an action. Unless you've got the following exceptions, one of which we're looking at in more detail now. So for example, if you've got a mental verb, so I wanted, more often than not, rather than going j'ai voulu, which you can say, there you'll go with je voulais. If you've got a repetitive action that's been referred to simply, so for example, I spoke French when I was younger, this would mean I used to speak French, really, so that would be je parlais. If you've got something that's a mental verb, I've talked about if you've got something after if. So I chose, normal action, j'ai choisi. If I chose, it's after if, it's in the past, so which tense am I going to use? Was. Yeah, so can you give me if I chose? Your verb is choisir, can you give me if I chose?
Si je choisissais.
That's it. The blue tie.
Le cravate bleue.
La cravate bleue.
La cravate bleue.
Bleu.
Bleu.
Yeah, say peux as in I can, je peux.
Je peux.
Say tu peux.
Tu peux.
Say il peut.
Il peut.
Say la cravate bleue.
La cravate bleue.
Good. Okay, so si je choisissais la cravate bleue, Miriam would tell me she was happy.
Miriam dirait qu'elle était contente.
Great. If I'd chosen the blue tie, Miriam would have told me she was happy.
Si j'avais choisi la cravate bleue, Miriam...
So I'm still going would.
Yeah. Me dirait.
Pause. This is what I would call visually the Charleston. You know, when I go dit with my hands, would have. If you're... Okay. The majority of verbs that you deal with, are they avoir in the middle or être in the middle? The majority.
Avoir.
What is avoir in the would tense?
Aurait.
Aurait. Get it down? Aurait. Yeah?
Aurait.
So 90% of these fuckers are going to be or something, alright? So Miriam would have told me.
Miriam m'aurait dit.
That's it. Only when we're in the realms of the être verb, like Miriam would have left, Miriam serait partie, or the reflexive verbs, je me suis, tu t'es, il s'est, all this business, Miriam would have Okay. Miriam got dressed. Miriam s'est habillée. Miriam would have. So if I'd have chosen the blue tie, Miriam would have got dressed differently. She'd have worn a blue dress or something. Miriam se serait habillée. That is one that you would use serait with as well. Yeah. So what I'm basically saying is 90. What you've really got to get down is da 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 was da 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 would da 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 was in the middle, i.e. the pluperfect. Da 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 da. You know, do a couple more for me. I know we've gone over half past, but do a couple more. Go when you need to go, but I just want this shit down. If I understood the situation, I would help the others.
Okay. Si je comprenais
Lovely, comprenez, lovely, the situation, I would help others.
la situation,
I would help
je
others.
aide les autres.
Je aide what?
J'aiderai.
Lovely, les autres. Notice it's aiderai because it's not aide, it's aider quelqu'un, not aider à quelqu'un. It's not j'aiderai aux autres. Good. Don't forget, you could say I would help others if I understood the situation. You're going to often say that. J'aiderai les autres si je comprenais la situation. Great. How would you say if I had understood the situation, I would have helped the others?
Si j'avais compris la situation, j'aurais aidé les autres.
Good. Now that's correct, but I can feel that there's not the same comfort in j'aurais that there was in j'avais. All right. So make sure that that one's down. Do one more for me. I would leave at midnight if I had to. I would leave at midnight if I had to. Using the verbs partir and devoir. I would leave at midnight if I had to. If I had to do it. I would leave at midnight if I had to do it.
Okay. I would leave at midnight, so that's gonna... Not would have left.
No, there's no have. So I would leave at midnight. All I've done is swap the order around, but it's still the same. The if clause goes in the was, the dream clause goes in the would. Off you go. I would leave at midnight.
Je partirai à minuit.
If I had to do it.
Si je l'aurais dû.
No. I'm in my if clause, which means fucking was. Off you go. If I had to do it.
Je l'avais dû.
No.
If I had to do it?
If I had... Now, I'm being a sneaky shit, but I haven't said if I had to. I'm not putting had in there as an auxiliary. I'm putting had in as the main verb, like a cheeky shit, but that's what I'm doing. So see, also, not being funny, Ian, which tense have you just used? You've just used the conditional. So you've got to pair it with the was. If you just used the past conditional, you could have paired it with the pluperfect. Was goes with would, was auxiliary goes with would auxiliary. You've just used would, which means I'm now going to hear was. Si je... so I would leave at midnight, je partirai à minuit if I had to do it. Si je...
devais.
Thank you. Do you get the pairings? The pairings are going to be... Yeah? Je partirai à minuit si je devais le faire. Knock it up a level. I would have left at midnight if I had to do it. I had to. So there I am bringing in the role of had as its verb and also had as in had to, as in devoir as opposed to avoir. I accept it's tricky, but there you go. So I would have left at midnight if I'd had to.
Je serais parti à minuit.
Good job. Nice work because of an extra verb. But the middle would go in the would, okay, if I had to.
Okay.
So I've used an auxiliary in would. Now I need an auxiliary in was. If I had to.
Si je l'avais.
No. I don't need the look. If I had to do it. Si j'avais.
Si j'avais.
Dû le faire.
Okay.
Great. No offence and no patronising. We're going to start with some of those next time. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Good. There's lots for you to watch back on and lots for you to play with. So basically, the element with this thing is not to mix your pairings up. It's not to start one and then go in the other one. If you've done was, go would. If you've done would, go was. If you've done the right auxiliary in the middle, you've got to go with an auxiliary in the middle. Does that make sense?
Yep.